"You mean for your bank account," someone yelled back. Margaret spotted me and pointed dramatically. "This person destroyed community property. They should be arrested." The mayor called for order. "Miss Thompson, the wells were drilled without proper permits on private property. The county has already ruled on this matter." Margaret's lawyer tried to argue, but the evidence was overwhelming. The county water authority director presented documents showing payments from developers to Margaret's private consulting company. "We estimate they would have drained the aquifer by 23% in the first year alone," he explained, showing maps of my property. "These illegal wells could have permanently damaged the water table for the entire region." A small commotion at the back of the room caught everyone's attention. Sarah Jenkins pushed through the crowd, dragging her husband Jason by the arm. "Tell them," she demanded, pushing him toward the microphone. Jason looked like he hadn't slept in days. "Margaret promised us all a cut," he admitted shakily. "The drought wasn't real. We made it up to justify emergency measures." The room erupted. Meeting minutes were presented showing the board voted to manufacture the water crisis. Financial records revealed where the money went. By midnight, the county commissioners made their decision. Margaret and 3 board members would face criminal charges. The HOA charter would be suspended pending a complete overhaul. I slipped out quietly during the confusion, exhausted by it all. What would happen to my land now? To my life here? 2 months passed in a blur of legal meetings and paperwork. 1. Saturday, I woke to find a group of neighbors at my front door. "We need to talk about your land," said a woman who introduced herself as the head of the Neighborhood Transition Committee. My heart sank. "I'm not selling." "We don't want you to sell," she explained. "We want to apologize and make things right." They proposed a new plan. The back portion of my property where the wells had been drilled would become a community nature preserve. With my permission, I would retain ownership but grant a proper limited conservation easement. The cement, I asked cautiously. "Stays," the woman said, "as a reminder of what happens when people abuse power." 4 months later, I couldn't believe my eyes. Dozens of volunteers worked across my back acreage, planting native trees around the cemented well caps. Each cap now had a small plaque explaining what had happened there. Sarah Jenkins approached me carrying bottled water. Her husband was serving community service hours, pulling invasive weeds nearby. "The Water Conservation Center plans are finished," she said, showing me drawings for a small education building. "We're naming it after your grandfather, if that's okay." I nodded, watching children carefully placing river rocks around a rain garden. "The county hydrologist says your actions saved the aquifer," Sarah continued. "The new HOA charter includes strict water protection measures. No board can ever do this again." A reporter from an environmental magazine stood nearby taking photos. "Would you share your story for our cover?" she asked. "People need to know they can stand up to corruption." Before I could answer, Margaret's luxury SUV roared past my property. She no longer lived in Sunset Valley after pleading guilty to fraud charges. She slowed down to glare at the community project, then sped away in a cloud of dust. "She still doesn't get it," Sarah sighed. "This was never about money or property values. It was about doing what's right." As the afternoon faded into evening, we gathered around the largest cemented well cap for the preserve dedication. The mayor handed me a small golden key to the information kiosk. "Sometimes," he said to the assembled neighbors, "it takes one person's courage to remind us all what community really means." I looked across what had once been my grandfather's quiet piece of land. Now it buzzed with activity. Birdwatchers, children learning about water cycles, families enjoying nature trails. "I never wanted to be at war with my neighbors," I told the crowd. "I just wanted to protect what was mine." An older gentleman nodded, "And in doing so, you protected what was ours too." The cement had hardened around those illegal wells, but something else had softened. The hearts of people who remembered what it meant to be true neighbors. Every cemented well now stood as a monument to standing up for what's right, even when you stand alone. As twilight settled over the preserve, I walked home along the new community path that respectfully curved around my private space. Someone had placed a small sign at the border. "Thank you for teaching us the difference between taking and sharing." My grandfather would have liked that, I thought. Sometimes you need to shut some doors firmly to open better ones. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Fievel nuzzling up to Eric like, oh my gosh, what's happening right now? The way Fievel was rubbing his head into him was something I hadn't seen before. Then he just jumped into Eric's arms. It was so heartwarming, especially since when we first got him, he was actually scared of my husband. I've been fostering for a while now, and we got a call from our rescue coordinator saying, "There's this dog at one of the county shelters looking for a foster. Can you take him?" You could just see it. Fievel looked so sad. So my husband and I went to the shelter to pick him up. It was obvious he was really nervous. He wouldn't go near Eric. He would kind of cower, back away, and showed no interest in him at all. Eric really made an effort. He wanted Fievel to like him. He asked, "Is he going to come out of his shell? Will he always be this scared? Come. Come here." He didn't give up. He'd sit in the room and just wait. And when Fievel showed even the smallest bit of courage and approached, Eric would give him a treat. Slowly, Fievel started coming over and eventually sat in his lap. That was such a huge step. Before long, he was like a totally different dog. He began playing with our 3 dogs, jumping on us, wanting cuddles and affection. From that point on, he and Eric were completely inseparable. Eric felt really loved. It was like a personal victory. It was so sweet that this little guy chose to trust him. Hi, look. People have asked, are you going to keep him? But honestly, once that bond is formed, it just shows that Fievel is ready. He's learned to trust again, and now he's ready for that next phase, his forever home.